short being. And there's all types out there. There's all types of white, blue, pink, gray, light gray, dark gray, tall, short. I don't know. I've never seen any insectoids. I've never seen any half humans. I've never seen half fish. I had a cousin that said she was a mermaid, and I believed her. And she had green hair from birth, greenish blue, and she was swum like a fish. She just didn't have a tail. But in her mind, she imagined one. And so I can't confirm or deny that those exist, mermaids, but there's a whole clan of people in the extraterrestrial world from the ocean, and it's said to be controlled by those beings that we can't see, and they stay out of sight. They have their own dimension and their own level of letting who sees them on the rocks, if you've seen some of those stories or seen some of those YouTube. So that's something that is a mystery or supernatural. But do they exist? In my mind's eye, I want to believe it, so that would be a faith. It's not a knowing. Now, the extraterrestrials taught me about knowing without talking. So I have that wisdom, and they did not give me my past lives to me. I had to work for those over 70 years, but they taught me that they existed. So when the Ascension age came, which I thought was 12/26, my birthday, 2012, because my mother and father had to pass in order for me to do my work. My father and mother were lovers and made me, created me in this reality, and neither believed in what I was or who I was or knew. They only knew I was a very smart child, that I could do things other children couldn't. They didn't talk about it, nor was I allowed to talk about seeing these beings that came and went that they couldn't explain. But no, they saw me do things, lift things with my mind and make plants dance. I could break things. I could start a fire. I could do a lot of things that they could not explain. And so they just told me that I was ambidextrous, meaning both hands, and that I was just very different or special. But I was normal in school. So I believe that some of us that are trained as extraterrestrials that do work with those that come and go in the different dimensions are also allowed to see these spacecraft that everyone wants to know about in June 2021, and it's coming through as parapsychology, theology, philosophy, and a knowing in the church, which are the people that follow those that have come and gone before. So that is like your ancient aliens on the History Channel. Alien civilizations exist, ancient astronauts. And Richard and I are multi-talented as far as hats, but we also are asked to help with the skills and talents, but above all, have an unconditional love for each and every spark of the I am at the highest level. Now, the extraterrestrials that I was involved with, I reported to the government. I reported to James Moody, Leo Sprinkle. I used to have letters from them and Ruth Montgomery when I was rehired back into the intelligence agency, May 10th, 1987. And I've asked Richard to help co-write our ghost book for me, him, and Ken. So I think that is going to be of interesting reading, but we'll take in some of the historical accounts with extraterrestrials as part of the real disclosure. But the real disclosure is going to come through those that have that spark in them to go inside and recognize that they can go in through their selves, their training, their closing all their, the parasympathetic nervous system will stay on, but you quiet your mind and go into a peaceful state. And many people believe in meditation, including in India, the yogis, and even Buddha Buddhism and Zen. Meditation has gotten to be quite common, 20 minutes, preferably 30, if you can do it and through yourself in what we now call the ascension process of knowing how your energy is connected to the energy of Mother Earth as well as Father Sky among tribal Indian beings that are very close to the deities and the gods that from the heavens came. Now, this is going to sound like the same repertoire, the same stories over and over again that you've heard in different realms or different books or different channels. It all comes out to be the glue of the matter, antimatter, they call the dark matter, out past the 38.9 billion years, I believe, that humans have designed their linear reality to believe that they can only be in excess or enlightened to the energy that can be obtained through the retinas or the human eyes that can be foreseen through telescopes. And that is part of cosmology, but it's only the beginning for humankind because through history we've had all these prior. They're just lost, like the Antikythera, the mechanism for things we find now as artifacts. But for Richard and I discussing who we are in past lives and who we are extraterrestrially, it's all about the same thing, is the human essence, that which is the fifth element. And the fifth dimension is enlightening yourself that you have a foot in this reality and a foot in an immortal reality with your soul, oversoul, or soul self, that this spirit or essence that you are here can go back like a radio wave. You may turn the TV on and turn the TV off. So think of yourself like a vehicle or TV in this reality. It's strictly a vehicle to get you around to do what you need to do in order to learn to survive, to help those of us that are terra-forming planets and going out to other galaxies and other universes. They do exist. Now, they may not show themselves in the ways that people want them to, but I guarantee you it's going on because I have firsthand knowledge of it. And all the groups in this reality honored God's word of not discussing Mother God's name or immortal, eternal, first description of Father, Mother, God, Goddess. And so that is something you'll never hear out of any Ascension Master or Ascended Master's name because none of us are allowed to speak it. That's how cosmic egg is protected, is because humans learning about them, their part of the whole, they knew coming from the God realized would not realize what they're saying and doing. Ergo, why our highest source of I am sent the Father's Son being, the deity, through an Immaculate Conception for Mother Mary. Now, that's Virgin Mary, or that is a story on the planet with a human body. And many people study that and believe in that very much. And the Catholic Church was founded on the rock of St. Peter, or Peter on his rock would he build the church. Jesus was saying that, and many people still believe that today. And they are very scientific now, and they hold a lot of the ancient manuscripts that no one else has because of Rome and the empire over there, and they are their own country on this planet. And they own a lot of the history that wasn't burned up or lost in fires or earthquakes or quakes or volcanoes, or the lost years of Atlantis are in Mu. And Lemuria, which we talked about, a man named Jack or John Churchwood, I believe, named Lemuria after lemurs that were found on that island. That's where the name Lemuria comes from. For all of you that know, Mu came from the ancient ones of the Anunnaki, or the sky god, An, and Mu. And Mother Mu was all we were allowed to say as Mu, Ma, Mom, Mum. And Mu is Mother, or Mother Earth as a Sophia energy essence that creates all energy life forms, including planets and those that shine as stars and the galaxies and all of that of the all I am. If all of you wonder about your deities and the female essence of the cosmic egg that was in the beginning of the I am. Now, Richard portrays a physical male body, but he also recognizes himself as both, like I do, and it's best if you learn to use both sides, your left and right brain, and they are separate. As you can see in people with a stroke, their right or left side will shut down. And also, they're learning about the housing of the mind. And the extraterrestrials have, some of them have larger, because of all the years and the many eons, that their reality of living billions of years, they have much more intelligence of coming and going. And since, I'm going to tell you something, that time doesn't matter here, but they do keep, like they understand, of course, because they set up humankind on this planet at various levels and stages in space and the cosmos, of timekeeping. So I'm very much about time travel books, because it takes you on a journey in your past lives to find out who you are, like the time machine. So many of us have this time traveling ability. And some of us have all accepted that we can go into our dream state, and in through there is a portal of ascension through lucid dreaming. Then once you know you're alive here on planet Earth and you're dreaming and you know yourself and you're going and you're flying, which I do a lot and I've done many times, out of body, and there's that level. And then there's the higher level of your oversoul that can come and go in this reality into the cosmos and work as another part of your higher soul, as some people call it, that still small voice inside your mind. Richard, I'm going to turn it over to you right here. I can get back to extraterrestrial or my Civil War life or wherever Ascension's leading you, but I've taken a long time, so it's your time to talk. Pass it back to you now, wherever you want to go with it.
Okay, well, let me add a few points here and there in regards to my own reference, in regards to reality, in regards to all of the references that Pastor Teresa has shared. I died and came back when I was 14. Like her, I experienced a love that cannot be put into words. I did, in fact, travel while I was being operated on. I died through the operation. It was diagnosed as Christmas tree mesentery, and I experienced going out of the hospital and into the night sky and into the colored tunnel and all of that. And then I, too, was greeted by angels. And then, in turn, I saw what I perceived to be the essence or the presence of God. Now, of course, I was shown a book of life, and as he turned to my page of life, it showed my life up until the age of 14. And he said, now, you know, there are many things you have agreed to do when you came here, and you have not accomplished them yet. So as a result of this, you may not come home. You must go back. And, of course, I was so euphoric and so much in bliss that I didn't want to leave their presence, nonetheless come back to the earth. Now, when I did, in fact, come back, basically by or through the will of the divine, one could say, I did ask one favor be granted, and that was that I know my true identity, or what I actually appear to be in all of my existence. And, of course, I was granted that, and what I perceived myself to be by stepping out of my physical self, I stepped into what you would call my overmind, I guess, and I perceived myself as nothing more than a ball of colored light. And this light was electrical, this light had consciousness, and I then gazed at the angels that had been standing there, and they too were also balls of light, colored light, and consciousness. So then in turn, of course, I went back down the tunnel, back through the night sky, back into the hospital. And by the time I arrived